here are our community channels. So I mentioned our YouTube channel already. I'm promoting that heavily because it's relatively new. We're being more active on YouTube now, but Slack is where we primarily are based. On the agenda today, we've got a packed agenda, and let's see. I say that, and we might end up trimming one of these, but we've got a recent release to talk about, a lot of cool stuff in it that's 26.0. We may hear about recent work on versioning. We'll hear about new and in-process APIs. And we had some discussion topics contributed from the community today, updating the UI and enhancing search, and then open discussion. So with that, I'll turn it over to, oh, I almost forgot to do introductions. Sorry about that. So it's our custom to use the speakers sort of attendee list, go left to right. So so I'll awkwardly call on you, and if you don't mind giving us your name, your organization, and what brings you to the meeting today, that would be great. Could we start with Pavel, please?
Yes, so my name is Pavel. I'm software developer at Getting Data, and I'm the contributor of OpenLineage and Marquez. Currently working on dataset symlinks feature in Marquez and column level lineage endpoint API in Marquez. Thank you.
Thank you. And Harel.
Hi all, I'm Harel. I'm engineering director at Astronomer, working on Astronomer availability, working with a bunch of folks here. Looking forward to hearing from everyone and seeing what's new with Marquez.
Thank you. Ross.
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm on the community team here at Astronomer, looking after the Airflow, Open Lineage, and Marquez communities, and I'm here to observe and help. It's good to see such a big group of people.
Yeah, thanks. Next is Howard.
Hello, everybody. I'm Howard Yu. I'm a staff product manager in Astronomer. Marquez is one of my favorite products that I always love and use. So just wanted to come to the community to meet you guys and also discuss a couple things. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up on my screen is Peter.
Hi, I'm Peter. I'm a software engineer at Astronomer, and I'm a Marquez contributor.
Thank you. Okay, next I think is Minkyu.
Hi, hi, I'm Minkyu, and I'm a software engineer at Astronomer and also a contributor to Marquez, and happy to see you all.
Happy to see you too. Thank you. All right, next I think is Herrick.
Hi, everyone. I'm Herrick Muhlstein, software manager at Ancestry, member of the community. Had an idea I would like to share. Thank you.
Thank you. It's great to have you. And next is, I believe, and I apologize if I mispronounce your name, please correct me, Amai?
Yeah, it's Amai. Hey, Amai here. I'm a software engineer at Ancestry with Herrick. So yeah, I mean, we are using Marquez as an open lineage tool or to track lineage. So yeah, looking forward to knowing Marquez better.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And Maciej.
Hey, I'm Maciej. I'm software engineer at Getting Data. Recently contributed, worked on some APIs, and would like to spend a few minutes talking about those.
And let's see. Mike.
Hey, Mike. I'm a staff software engineer at Astronomer. I'm a contributor to OpenLineage and to Marquez.
Thank you. And Julian.
Hi, I'm Julian. I'm the project lead for OpenLineage, and here to hear about what everybody has to talk about.
Thanks. Willie.
Hello, everyone. I'm Willie. I'm the co-creator of Marquez. I'm also on the software engineering, or I'm on the observability team at Astronomer, focusing on data lineage. So I just wanted to echo what Ross said. It's really nice to see some new faces here.
Thanks. And Ryan.
Hey, I'm Ryan. I'm a developer at Astronomer. On our CRE team, we're ramping up to support tools like Marquez and OpenLineage as part of our observability features. So here to learn more about Marquez.
Yeah. And John.
Hey, I'm John. I'm the third piece of the community team at Astronomer. I'm working primarily with Airflow and kind of for the Marquez side of things, kind of how it integrates with Marquez.
And I'm also on the community team at Astronomer, and I coordinate these meetings. Let's see. Oh, right. I was going to turn it over to Willie. So why don't you take it away, Willie?
One sec while I get set up here. Sorry about that.
I can also share my screen if that's easier.
Okay, yeah. If you want to do that, because there's just one slide I want to cover. Right. So just a few things here. I know we can't kind of always bring this up, but we do have stickers available for Marquez and OpenLineage. So if you do want to grab your swag, feel free to just go to the astronomer.io/datakin-swag, and you can pick up some stickers. There was a recent talk that I did at LinuxCon, which is now up, and that talked about backfilling Airflow DAGs using Marquez, and specifically how you could use the lineage graph to know which downstream DAGs you might have to backfill. Yeah, check it out. There's some scripts as well if you wanted to be inspired by that. But the idea of the talk was really, what can you do with the lineage graph and how you could build on top of it to power some of your internal data tools. And a quick LFAI and data update. This is actually, I've been working with Michael quite a bit in terms of graduating the project. We have a lot of checkboxes made. We've met quite a few. I think we're at the point where we're looking for some external contributors to the project. So it's great to see Ancestry on the call because that would help in terms of just more visibility on the project and get more contributors that can help dictate possibly where the roadmap can go. And it's just great to get others' opinion on kind of how we're doing and some gaps in the features that Marquez might want to support in the future. And we do have a meeting scheduled with LFAI and Data for January to talk about our progress. So just know that we're working really hard behind the scenes to get Marquez graduated, because that's a significant accomplishment for the project, but just shows the testament of the community and everyone's involvement. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. And we're making progress there. And that was it on my end.
Thank you. With that, let's turn to a recent release. This is 26.0. Some important new features added in this one. This was about a week ago when 26.0 came out. Start with additions to the API. We added the possibility to soft delete data sets and jobs, or I should say, Maciej added this feature with a few PRs. Eventually, you'll be able to do this through the UI, but the way it works is through a flag called the isHidden flag, and it gets reset if the job or data set is updated because the new version reverts the flag. So that flag just gets raised on data sets and jobs that you want to hide. Thank you, Maciej, for that.
I have a question. Why is this a possibility? Is it a finished feature, or is it just a partial feature?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about slightly later.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, and Michael is stealing my points. So go on. Never mind.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So another change to the API also from Maciej was to add a new API actually with raw open lineage events, sorted by time and optionally filtered by namespace. So thanks for those. In changes to the database, Mike Collado contributed 2055, and this updates the Flyway factory to support an argument to customize the schema, and note this doesn't support custom schemas from configuration. Had some changes to the CLI, and Willie can correct me, but I believe these are closely related. We have a metadata option to seed the backend with open lineage events.
Yeah. New command. I think we get a lot of questions in the community around how do I seed with open lineage events. So this allows you to just point to a file that's where each event is metadata sort of compliant or fits that spec, and you can seed it with the metadata that you're that you've defined or just want to test out.
Yeah, thank you. In the documentation of the project, we had some key changes. Julian and Pavel contributed a proposal to create a column level lineage endpoint in the project that will leverage the column level lineage facet in the open lineage project. So thanks for that, of course. And additional documentation, Willie added steps on proposing changes to Marquez, including a template, and Howard improved the documentation on the node ID. So now we have more complete examples. Thanks, Howard. And in terms of changes, had a change to the DB to dramatically improve the efficiency of the lineage query. So this, I believe, was prompted by cases where you had a large number of jobs, but events with no inputs or outputs, like in an Airflow environment with Python operators. So thank you, Mike, for that. You used an inner join, I believe, to make that happen. And I'm sure much more than that. In changes to the service, now open lineage events are persisted to the database. Thank you, Minkyu, for that. You switched the order to persist events first before updating the Marquez model, I believe. Let's see here. Last but not least, among the changes, Willie dropped the requirement to provide Marquez.yaml for the seed command because it wasn't being used. There were some important bug fixes in here. We don't normally go into detail on those, but I wanted to welcome Studio Sciences and Jabera. These are new contributors to the project. So Studio Sciences, some folks on the call know Mark. And Jabera is a contributor named Mike. So thanks and welcome. And with that, I'll turn it over to, Ryan. So take it away, Ryan.
Hey, yeah, so there are a couple issues that have been discussed regarding dataset versioning in Marquez. I think there are, the issues are 1977 and 1883. I think it's, I don't know if counterintuitive is the right word, but at least the dataset versioning can be a bit confusing in that in the schema for a dataset version, you have the UUID for the dataset version, and then beyond that, you also have a version field for the dataset version. And so I opened a proposal, which I think is issue 2071, to try to resolve some of that confusion by removing the version field and replacing it with an external version to be able to support different kind of data engineering tools that might already have a dataset version baked into them. And then so Marquez users could use that as the external version field. So that's kind of the gist of it. I can dive in a little deeper if you want to hear more, or if there are any questions about it.
So I just wanted to say, so Ryan and I, we've been kind of talking in our own personal chat, Slack channel, or I'm sorry, Slack group with Mike. But the versioning logic really hasn't changed since the initial release of Marquez. The versioning was always, if a schema changes, Marquez would manage the versioning internally and tie that to a job version. But this is pretty significant in terms of revisiting that versioning logic and accepting external version IDs, or something we weren't, we didn't necessarily have on our roadmap, but we knew eventually we would have to support. Because like you were saying, there's external tools, even databases or other systems that have their own versioning. And I believe OpenLineage has a version facet. So we're trying to be more aligned with the flexibility that OpenLineage has and introduce that into Marquez. Because Marquez has a very opinionated model, but we're trying to make that a bit more flexible and a bit more, I think, usable for our end users. But I just want to say it's been great revisiting that part of the code and that part of the logic.
Cool, thank you. And Ryan, I saw like a palm tree in Slack next to your name. So if you're joining us from vacation, thanks for doing that.
Yeah, no worries. It's kind of my fault because I got my I missed the Marquez meeting on my calendar. Currently in Croatia, enjoying some incredible weather. So not to rub it in, but yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, thanks again. And let's see here. Next on the agenda is Maciej. So take it away, Maciej.
Okay. A few hundred kilometers north in Poland, the weather isn't so nice.
Oh man, sorry to hear that.
So yeah, I wanted first to tell about the row event API, and the APIs that we talk about were kind of missing from Marquez initially. I'd say missing because they seem pretty obvious to have, but up until then, we didn't have them. So basically, the write, since I think few versions ago, is going through OpenLineage events, but there was no possibility to get all the OpenLineage events received by Marquez, and despite it's being for a few versions already the only source for the dataset jobs runs. So I added this, and there is one thing that didn't made it. So pretty I think useful feature would be to get the datasets by namespaces. So if you have a lot of teams, a lot of different databases, you might want to see the stuff coming only from some particular database. But it turns out that it would require pretty significant changes in the model right now, because tying and dataset version to a concrete event isn't that easy in Marquez right now. So this is like a future work that certainly at some point we would like to support. Second thing is those delete APIs, and yeah, Michael told that they are soft deletes, just a database flag. And why is that? I think there are few kinds of deletes. and especially in lineage work. So first of all, your database can be deleted, like you can just drop table something, drop delete files, delete, I don't know, bucket on your object storage. And this is like
Maciej, are you intending to share your screen?
Not really.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. I
haven't prepared something. I probably should, but sorry.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah. So this is like a physical event, right? And we would not want for like delete to show us, hey, you can see anything in lineage graph because you deleted this. So this is an actual event that changes the data set. If something tries to read from this data set, then you would see that this is deleted, right? Some further in the lineage graph. I think Willie has a great presentation before when he showed like somewhere few levels before something broke, the data set was changed, and this prevented the further job downstream to run successfully. So this is one of the things that you could see. But sometimes you create jobs to test something or basically create some fake events to see the database, see how Marquez works. And until now, your only way to get it, let's say, cleaned up was to do your manual work in database or basically drop it. So this API provides you with a possibility to basically do that right now. And as a future work here, we would want to make this easier by getting you a possibility to just clean an entire namespace. And if you clean this event and the job is still running, we restore the state because the job isn't really gone. This is meant to be something that you use when you really want to test Marquez or hide the dataset. And in the future, of course, the real deletion should still be there. And this is one of the future APIs that we at some point will work on. Also, there is like a third case where you want to, you basically deleted the database, deleted the table, done something, but you didn't capture the events that have done this. So there should be an option also in the future that will allow you to basically mark the stuff as deleted because, as far as open lineage integration go, we don't really have an option to automatically capture event like deleting, say, storage bucket. Yeah, that's it, I think.
Great work. I have one question. So it's a soft delete, so it's pretty much like a marking data sets and jobs as like deleted or hidden. So there must be also ways to undelete those accidentally deleted ones. Is that also there in the API?
Not right now, yes, but okay. I agree it should be.
Okay. And the reason why we put the possibility is because it's a soft delete? In our release notes, like, yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Maciej. And I think next on the agenda is our discussion, or our discussion items, I should say. Let's start with updating the UI. And I believe this was contributed by Howard. Am I right about that, Howard?
Yeah.
And just before we started that, I think Eric mentioned you had an idea you wanted to discuss. Do we want to add it to the list right now before we start talking about the topic so that we can do a bit of time management?
Mine is the enhancing search.
Oh, okay, so it's already there. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's enhancing the search. I think there's a typo there. Anyway.
Oh, thanks.
Enchanting is also pretty good. Anyway, I would like to share the screen and just give you like a couple of items. So it's basically there was the Marquez UI has been pretty much unchanged for the last couple of releases, and there was actually a need to improve or add new functionality to the Marquez UI, or even like start thinking about some of the things that could have been helpful. So I just kind of came up with a couple of lists for a potential roadmap for Marquez UI improvements, and would like to share them. And I felt sharing these into the community and also getting some opinions, comments, or anything that's missing here is a thing to do. So just have about like 5 items which I came up with that includes like a facet view enhancements. Just to give you a little bit of a description, it's when we are looking at the job or data set, we should have a better way of rendering or displaying the facet data in a more navigatable way. There's also a raw event viewer, because we now have the raw event in API that we can use. Maybe the UI should support that as well. Soft delete, it's another new feature of deleting. So maybe the Marquez UI should now have options to soft delete and not display those data sets that are not there. Time range based query, it's like I think we have a couple of issues or PRs related to time based queries on the column level lineages. But I just wanted to make sure that maybe in the future the UI should also support that. And lastly, the graph display mode enhancement. So display graphs in various style like linear, circle, etc., as well as highlight various states of the jobs. For example, like job centric or data centric. Option to turn on and off things like data quality errors, recency. Based on some of the facet data that we can find, should make it much more interesting. But these are kind of 5 ideas that I was kind of thinking while using Marquez UI, and I'm sure that the people in this community meetings do use Marquez UI. So I just wanted to kind of bring this out and start discussion. So I don't have any importance or priority over this. So it's one of the things that I really want to hear are what are are they even important? And if so, like how much important do you guys think they are? And what are some of the kind of urgencies of, do we need these kind of stuffs now because they're not there, or, these are not really that urgent. I just wanted to kind of hear out. So that's pretty much it. So,
so great to share that. I thought you could add the 6th point about the UI with column lineage graph. It's it's something we'll come up with later, and I think this should be also on the list.
Okay. Anything that's kind of missing here, it's something that I also want to hear and maybe add it to this table. If there's like some UI feature that is like absolutely necessary for Marquez, but it's not implemented, then yeah.
I would want to hear what you mean by the first point more. How would you visualize different facets in a more generic way than implementing
Yeah,
for every
well,
facet?
one of the things that kind of I felt is facets are JSON objects. So, and I believe we just display the JSON payloads, but I think, you know, because the JSON is kind of a universal tree structure, we could have like a tree view instead of the actual JSON messages for users to kind of browse around the facet data. Another thing is there are many URLs included in the facet data, and some of them are just kind of they point to the, you know, the what do you call it, the schema, but some of them are really important. And I think like having the URL type of data to be linkable and clickable, so that people can click it and open up in the browser, is going to be like a good feature for people to use.
I totally agree. From our side, we would love that.
Okay. Thank you.
I think even sometimes, you know, a link even back to the Airflow job that it was generated from could be really helpful.
Yeah, like log URLs, right? Or, you know, tags.
Yeah, like the actual job URL or the S3 bucket or whatever was related to. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's good to know. But, you know, one problem that we have, unfortunately, is there's actually no active contributor who's contributing to the UI right now. A lot of the works are kind of in the API or schema and the you know, the backend function level. So, you know, the community is actually actively looking for any UI developers that who can be interested in working in these areas.
Cool. I do have one idea that's on my deck. We can either wait or I could bring it up here for the UI.
No, I'm actually done. If you guys don't have any questions or any comments, and we can move into your presentation. So, all right. Well, I'll be sharing these with you guys after in our channel. So, you know, please take a look, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Cool.
Those are some great enhancements, Howard. Yeah, I think, you know, I saw there was like some target dates, still TBD. Yeah, but I agree with a lot of what you laid out.
Thanks. Next.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, please, Eric, take it away.
Okay, all right. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for inviting us to your community meeting. This is great. So, as you know, the current state of the search in Marquez is helpful if you're looking for a job, name of a job or a data set, and it does search through all namespaces. However, we know there's a lot more data that could be searchable, like facets and so forth, that may be helpful. So currently, when we demoed our Get Marquez integration with our data governance team, the first question they asked, can I do a lookup from a table name or a table column? Like, well, a table name is kind of a data set, but especially a column. Show me all the uses of a particular column. And we said, well, it can't do that currently. So got us thinking about what are some possible enhancements that could be useful for search. And these are some of the things we came up with. So the first bullet here is being able to search for a column name, or is usually related to a table, and potentially descriptions and you could potentially even use the table.column syntax to search for any usages of this column. Although if multiple data sets have the same column name, certainly it could show all of those uses. The second one was job code or SQL queries. If you have a particular query in mind, or show me all the insert jobs, or that kind of thing, it could search within the job code itself. The next one, obviously, is just facets, as I already mentioned, have these parsable property names and values, which could be really useful for arbitrary metadata people are looking for that may not be obvious in a name otherwise. And then job descriptions could be another one we search for, that just for looking for keywords. So the benefits of these enhancements, and one or more, right? They don't all have to be done at the same time. Could be to easily find where data is coming from, given the keyword, job, what job may have transformed a column inside of a data set. And then interestingly was the idea of a reverse lookup from something like a SQL query, or who's using this S3 bucket, or part of, or maybe it's a part of a path of an S3 URL, who is landing in the data lake, or who is, which job is manipulating a certain type of data, and then you can kind of start from what you do know and very quickly find the users or jobs that transform those things you're looking for. So this is the main idea, and of course, not all of this has to be done or even could be done, but just an idea that we want to present. We're not necessarily signing up to implement all of this, but we're interested in this from the community standpoint. Let's see. Let's go back. Some other ideas to potentially limit the search downstream from a specific job or data set. Let me just narrowly focus on, instead of global, across all namespaces, maybe you search within the namespace, or within a even a particular job. What's downstream? Kind of separate from search, as I was mentioning, for the UI, a job, you potentially could display the job status color in the lineage view. So very quickly, you can see what jobs might be failing that relate to a namespace. And then also in the job list view, potentially have another column that is the last status to, again, quickly find the failed jobs. What we found is that users, let's say of a consumer, downstream, let's say a dashboard, say, hey, this dashboard's broken. What happened? What's going on? And right now you have to click on every single job in a namespace to find the status, right? Or go to Airflow or some other tool. So showing those on a single view would be, I think, really helpful to quickly drill down. And then again, having more awareness of a consumer, and I think there is an Open Lineage discussion on this topic of making consumers a first-class citizen. I read that as well. And then the last thing is just having potentially other dataset icons like Kafka or APIs, or other types of data sources, FTP, that could help you visualize, where things are coming from. And so quickly, this is just an example of, I want to find the page name, column, no results, and here it is. Potentially, if you want to search for code into some SQL. You could search in that, just a quick visual. And then this is a mock-up of what it could look like, adding color to the job status. And so you can see very quickly, wow, these are failed jobs. Oh, and these are still running. Therefore, my dashboard over here isn't updated yet because we still have some active jobs. Oh, but these are completed. So it gives you a quick overview without having to click on all of them. And then lastly, this was the idea of adding a status in the job list. So I just moved this column over and added a status there. And if you have a very long list, that could be helpful. That is it. Thank you.
Yeah, so I feel like some of this stuff could actually be addressed by some of the projects that are being worked on right now. So like Pavel's doing the column level lineage, I feel like that would really help, at least with some of these use cases, being able to know, like there was a use case that was brought up, like who manipulated a specific column in a data set. So maybe maybe you could sync up with him and find out if that helps.
Mm-hmm. Is that part of the search?
No, I don't think so.
They actually want to start this.
But I do think if you have a data set at least, and you want to know who has manipulated that a particular column in that data set, you can start from there at least.
What would the user experience be for doing that reverse kind of lookup? Who's using this? Is there a function on the column where you can click an element or something?
Maybe you can talk a little bit about the column lineage support that you're working on.
So browsing through the column lineage is just one of the examples you provided. So yeah, perhaps you can go upstream from one column to the columns used to produce it. Yeah. But in general, I think that what you show on the slide is much richer. And actually, I think a lot of people would come with the same slide because people do love having a single search place where you just write what you want and you get it. Yeah. And yeah, I totally understand what you mean. Yeah.
Great. Well, whatever you're building, it sounds like an incremental enhancement that could be very useful to us. So we're interested. Thank you for your time letting me share these ideas.
I think those ideas make a lot of sense, right? And I think I know you mentioned you're not signing up necessarily to build all of it. But I think if you want to build some of it, we're very happy to help you be successful in that. And yeah, I think we could like articulate more some of those and see how maybe other people also would be interested in contributing.
Yeah, and I also feel like a lot of what you listed are, they're small changes, but they're very impactful for usability. Yeah, each single one I think could be its own issue on enhancements. And the general thing with Marquez is that the search, it's not very sophisticated, right? It's really just doing a text search on table names or job names, but it doesn't go beyond that. There's no advanced indexing capabilities because we're not using something like Elasticsearch or a true search engine. So initially, the search was just there to kind of help show what has been registered in jobs and data sets. But I would love sort of the use case where you could actually search for the SQL and get hits on that. And like you mentioned, this reverse lookup and see what are the jobs downstream that are related to that query. I think it's super impactful and a strong use case. The only thing is, with what you laid out, this could help us drive maybe better search capabilities. So it would be great, whether you work with us or if this is something that you wanted to do, to just start creating these issues. And then we'll tag them appropriately. There's no guarantee on when they can be completed. That's the only thing. But a lot of what you outlined makes total sense for the project. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna start taking a course on Node.js and TypeScript, because these features just seem so, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would love to, like, using Marquez. I would love these features. It gets me excited. Just thinking about,
Yeah, and that's where I think, like I do think that we can piggyback a lot of, right, like a lot of the backend work that is already happening. But yeah, we lack the UI integration. And that's, kind of goes back to the point I think Michael brought up earlier, or maybe Howard, that, if there are UI developers out there who want to help, right? Like, I think there's already backend work that is, helping to address some of this stuff, but because it's not integrated into the UI, end users aren't getting the full benefit.
Right. And it's a good point, Mike, right? On the backend side, there's so much development happening. And normally you would have it where, Pavel, he's working on this lineage API, and then you'd have an accompany a story or task to, talk about how that would be displayed on the UI and discuss some of the work and test that out. But that's the thing, is just the backend's advancing a little bit more and a lot quicker than what our front end can. And that's just not because it's not a priority. It's just, resources at the moment are a little tight. And Peter, who has done amazing work, is really, the UI looks the way it does because of Peter and his amazing work. And, his time is also limited as well. So we're kind of casting a big net. Who wants to help out with the UI? Because we fully support you.
Yeah, I think there are some things that are really low-hanging fruit, like adding columns to the job dataset table or adding node statuses, that I'm pretty happy just to take issues on. I just want to get them prioritized, I think, if we can do that as like small tasks that can make a dramatic increase. And yeah, Willie, I agree on the search. I think, we have a very simple deployment for open source where we're not going to, have like a Solr cluster or Elasticsearch cluster out there to index all this, especially like code, that's a pretty sophisticated operation, needs re-indexing all the time. So I think that's like on the side of hard for us, a little.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But some of these other features, I think, really doable. They would have a big impact, and they're not that much work. So
yeah, I
go ahead.
I agree. Some of these do seem like low-hanging fruit, like searching column names, right? Within the schemas, or the colorizing some of the icons, or adding the job status here and there. I think just those couple of things, even, huge value to at least how we're using Marquez.
Yeah, this is starting to sound like a Marquez hack day. I don't know. We set it up where we're like, okay, we have an hour. How much of these features can we get out? Because again, a lot of them are low-hanging fruit and not all that hard to implement. But I don't know. A UI hack day on Marquez would be awesome.
Yeah, and then maybe along, we have those two big features coming out with the deletions and what was the other one? Column level lineage. I think we can think about what we need to do to prioritize, the corresponding work. I mean, because otherwise I don't know that they'll be used, because, a deletion is really a user-driven action more so than it is you do it programmatically, I think. Maybe you do it programmatically, but it would be nice that if a user could do such a thing.
Yeah, I even tried to do that, to add some, button to click. That quickly turned out that I'm not a React programmer. So unfortunately, it wasn't in this release.
Yeah, and Peter's seen the results of my attempts at hacking the UI before, and thankfully, like, swooped in to save the day and said, "Let me take care of that for you."
Yeah. And Peter, I don't know, maybe you give us a 15-minute crash course on React, and you just let us run. But I don't know. It's
15 minutes.
I'm
15
pretty-
minutes,
How-
you're optimistic.
How hard could it be, right?
Yeah, how hard can it be? Yeah, no one on this call is a UI expert. But yeah.
Peter is.
Well, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, of course.
So Peter, like, you know, I know that you are busy with other works. What's your prospects on your availability if you were to get some of the low-hanging fruits like colorings or icons? And
I don't want to get off. I don't know if I want to get involved in like a, you know, prioritizing on our sprints, but I think we could like assign one small task, you know, every 2 weeks. Like, for example, node highlighting is not a big deal. Adding a column to the dataset table or job table for status is minor. So I think we could assign it to me, we could assign it to somebody else. I think another priority is just to get somebody else working on the project some, you know, and knowledgeable about how it works. So maybe I could show some people some of the details about how all this is put together.
yeah, that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Another idea for that is if it's not too complicated to implement, that just create an issue with the bit of details and mark it as good first starting issue and just tweet it out to like we welcome contribution for that like that.
I think the gist here, though, is Herrick, please create the issues. I think that there is, you know, definitely willingness and even eagerness to see a lot of these features. So please go ahead and open those issues, and we will respond.
Okay, I don't think I have access on GitHub to do that. But
Oh, I think just to create the issues,
Yeah,
You should.
okay,
doesn't need to
I'll-
be a contributor. Yeah.
okay, I'll try and I'll reach out on Slack if I can.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for listening to our ideas.
Oh, of course.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you for being there. Yeah.
We have just like 4 minutes for open discussion. If there are any topics that we didn't address that you would like to talk about, now's a good time.
Are we gonna do hackathon on Marquez?
Okay, I planted the seed. I like this. Some prizes. I don't know.
If there's a prize, I mean, I think people are gonna be interested.
It would just be Marquez swag, maybe a T-shirt. I don't know, but yeah.
No. Come on, let's aim high. Right.
Okay. Hey, these are gonna be nice shirts. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the price of like dinner with Willie would be good. Dinner is on Willie.
Okay, I provide. You know, I'd be happy to do that. Yeah,
If it came with plane ticket to US, then I'd
say,
be
does that count?
definitely.
Yep, sure.
Sounds great. Ticket to Willy Land. Like it.
Yeah, I'm in SF. It's really great weather right now. We got some good restaurants.
Where is the most expensive restaurant?
We have to go to Napa Valley for that. If you want to.
Saison's up there.
Saison? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Saison's a 3-star restaurant, and I believe like the Marina or south of Market area. That last time I checked was something like $800 a plate without the wine pairing. Or not a plate, but it's a seat. Sorry, because it's the prefix menu only. And then that was last time I checked. I don't know what it is now.
Marquez deserves it.
All right, this idea has legs. Maybe Ross, we can talk about what we can organize. Maybe even on the astronomer side, what we can do. I think this would be great.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, thank you, everybody. And we'll be in touch and we'll see you next month for the community meeting in October. So have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
you.
See you, folks.
Bye.